welcome to this online music profile. My name is Jane Cornwell. I am the jazz critic for the London Evening Standard and a writer for Jazzwise music magazine. This webcast, we're delighted to have the Warsaw-born and based Jerzy Mączyński, a saxophonist and composer that many call the voice of the new generation of young Polish jazz artists. He's best known as a band leader and creator of Jerry and the Pelican System, an alternative musical concept which in 2019 released a debut album for the prestigious Polish jazz label. They're the 83rd album for the series, and it was released by Warner Music, who revived the label a few years ago. So let's take a little look at them here. Tell us a bit about your background and how you got into jazz.
I started to play music in the age of 5. I started with classical schools. In the age of 18th or 19th, I started to learn jazz music, like in the school. But actually, like maybe 2 or 3 years before, I started to practice and to listen jazz. Actually, I was crazy about it. I missed this like normal school to play saxophone. I wanted to play jazz, to be able to call myself as a jazz saxophonist. So I started to just learn the language.
It's no coincidence that Jerry and the Pelican System has been mentioned in the same breath as the legendary Yeyeh band Milosz. And I just wonder if you could explain what Yeyeh means, why you relate to it, and why you love this, because I know you do, this band Milosz so much.
For sure, it was like many bands, many musicians from this genre, from this period of time. But like for me, Milosz is like the essence of Yeyeh. They had real freedom.
So there were no rules, basically. That with Yeyeh, it was crossing genres. It was playing what you want. It was leaving space as well. But
yes, and also like not like even in terms of the music, but they had like freedom to put completely different people and completely different artists to one band. Then maybe the music was like the second step, like to have this idea of making a jazz band like from completely different people. This whole mixture was very interesting, and I feel that this is like the explanation. What does it mean? Like what Yeyeh was.
Od zawsze w komisjach oceniałeś młodych utworząc siwce. Respekt festiwaliu, zawsze na topie. Od sam na pokładzie, jednemu dałeś dupy, innemu tylko pałę. Wycinał paszport i klejśmy tej groby. Graliśmy w bankę, to zwiedzałeś demoludy. Twój znak rozpoznawczy, to tak dowodnik kota.
So you're the co-founder of one of the most recognizable bands of the younger generation in Poland, the P.E Quartet. And you recorded the 2018 Cokolwiek, which means anything. I mean, we're talking about Yeyeh and anything goes.
That was like real collective, like 4 friends, including me, from like jazz school wants to play some free jazz stuffs. This album will be one of the most important for me, like because we started to play music and to have rehearsals, like just for fun of playing free jazz. And we learned this music by ourselves. Then we won the jazz competition, and this was like how they even accept us for this competition, and we won it, and then we played just our music. Yes.
Well, let's have a little look at the title track of Cokolwiek. We've got it here. Like many young jazz musicians, Jerzy, you're in several bands. One of them is, alongside pianist Marcel Belinsky, is the band Rasp Lovers. One critic described Rasp Lovers as chaotic heaven for the avant-garde fanatic.
The Rasp Lovers was their response for second album of P.E Quartet. I can say like that. Actually, it's very hard for me to explain this. Everything was like we didn't know what we were doing like during recording the P.E Quartet. Like we were like super crazy about just to play, just to discover new stuffs, but we were like we have many problems to describe our music, and after 2 years of releasing the P Quartet, we have so many thoughts about like, okay, wow, like what we created, and we have really problems to make something new. And Simon said that he need to do something with us. He wanted to write his music, but like for him, like we are one of the best players, and yes, and this is like how he construct the Rasp Lovers, and actually we have many great concerts together.
Well, let's have a little look at a clip here. Just gives a bit of a taste of Rasp Lovers, and there's penguins in here as well, which I like. Pelican System is a 5-piece. Do you want to tell me who else is in the band and what Pelican System actually means? Because I know it's a philosophy.
The whole idea for the band is to have, for me, freedom in terms of the different members in the band. Sometimes I want to have up to 10 members for one concert. Sometimes I wanted to express myself like solo. So everything, it's called Jerry The Pelican System. So this is like a free situation in terms of the number of people. But I recorded the first CD with my friends, actually. Jerry The Pelican System was like a band, was like a concept for me, which I discovered during this year in Denmark. This year was one of the most important year for my music. Just in the house, in the wooden house in the forest, and I have a lot of time to write, to compose. I came up with this crazy idea to first to connect different people, like, and this was maybe inspired by band Miłość. They had like a different members, and I wanted to have different members of our time. So for example, I took Wiktoria Kubowska, and she's like one of the best session drummers. And I took Franciszek Pospieszalski, he was like from the avant-garde scene, and Marcel Belinsky. He was also from avant-garde, but also he has very good approach of classical music. So he really helps me in my composition to like put long forms. And Marcin Leszkowski, he loved the jazz standards. He's like really focused on how to be correct in jazz. We're like completely freedom in terms of the colors in the whole symphony. Like, this is how this first debut album came out. But I was just saxophonist. So sometimes was not enough for me to press my music for new people in new country in one rehearsal. So this is why I started to develop my skills in electronic music.
You had Jerry and the Pelican System, and you released your debut album.
Yes.
And then with the National Centre of Culture, and in response to the demand for sort of a virtual cultural offer, you did a huge project called the Jerry and the Pelican System Virtual Tour.
Yes.
And that was like working online with 30 jazz artists from around the world. And that resulted in 7 different videos. And each was a new composition, especially for the episode.
A new band. Yes. New composition, new band, new music, new
and broadcast on the internet. Yeah. Do you want to talk a little bit about that, and then we can look at some of the video?
Of course. So yes, this is one of the biggest project which I have already done in my life. I had like really few weeks to make it, like few weeks for 7 videos, to have like a different bands in each video, and to have like a different composition in video, and to have good video, and to have good music. So everything was like super fast and crazy.
Have a look at one of the videos, and this is called Aliens Inside Rodeo. And we see you seated at the bottom right at the keys and the synth, and it features the Persian Peruvian harpist Yves Martin. Now you have a new album coming out, a new solo album coming out later this year called SARIANI. Tell me what it's inspired by. What's your vision for this album?
Really, all my life, I was inspired by Indian culture. I wanted to be there, to visit this country, just to go there for holidays. But I don't know why. Like, I was in many countries in my life. Like, I was traveling a lot, but never to India. I met Apurva Krishna during my master's studies. She's one of the top Carnatic players. She's a violinist, composer, great artist. She constructed a band and she invited me for 8 concerts in India. I extend my trip as much as I could.
The virtual tour helped you workshop and get ready different melodies and firm up different ideas for this solo album, which is called SARIANI.
The best exercise for this material was to have this virtual tour. Whole virtual tour was one big experiment in the terms of the compositions, experimenting with ideas, and the whole album is like just define melodies.
SARIANI, I understand, is actually a character.
It's a character. It's a woman. It's a superhero. A woman which is like fighting for rights, for women rights in war and for freedom. It was like my vision, my dream. I have a dream with this kind of character, and I came up with idea, and I woke up and Saryani. I had this name in my head, like Saryani. So this is like completely abstract.
We have a flavor in a home session with the multi-instrumentalist and Jerry and the Pelicans drummer, Victoria Jakubowska. So let's just have a little look at that. Jerzy Mączyński, I think that's all we've got time for, and we'll see you next time. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you.